Session Mayor and City Council meeting 11:07, Tuesday, June 24, 2025, City Hall Complex, Council Chamber. Call this meeting to order. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have one call to public. Mr. Marcelino Varona, would you please go up to the podium and state your name and address and
Good morning, Mayor, members of the council, Mr. Kramer. Marcelino Arona Jr., 826 North Linda Vista Drive, Nogales, Arizona. I came over here I've been keeping a view of what your works have been on the budget, and I was extremely disappointed to see on the pay salaries that you're giving our Public Safety Department. As some of you are aware of, I was the chairman of the committee several years ago that asked the residents of our community for an increase in the sales tax of 0.25 percentage of a cent, and it passed. And during this time, we have collected millions of dollars for public safety being defined as the police department and the fire department. And as things are going right now, I think we finally hit the fork in the road with the council on the decision-making process of additional revenues, that we have to get the community involved. We can't continue like the process that we are in right now, especially considering that the City of Phoenix Police Department, in front of our own noses, is advertising here locally for police officers. That means that there's a problem in the recruitment of law enforcement candidates. So if they're having a problem and they're trying to take the people that you have already paid several thousands of dollars to train them, they want to take them, then we need to do something to make sure that this doesn't become a revolving door. As you've seen on the last United States Department of Transportation data that was released from January through April of 2025, people crossing the border, 3.4 million total people crossed the border, which was a minus 2.1%. 1.2 million cars crossed during that period of time, which is a minus 4.9%. 1.1 million pedestrians going northbound crossed, which was a good sign of a positive increase of 7.6%. These are the people that we depend upon for our sales tax. The sales tax is what keeps this community alive. I saw the mayor at the opening of Centro, at their grand opening there. Now just think about Centro. You're going to provide them with police, you're going to provide them with ambulance, you're going to provide them with sewer, you're going to provide them with water. Do they sell anything at Centro? No, they don't. They're not selling anything at Centro. So you're not getting any sales tax. Are they paying property tax? No, because we don't have property tax. So there's the mayor shoveling the dirt, happily to welcome them and everything. And we're glad that they're there as a community, okay? Because for STEM-related, science, technology, engineering, and math education, it's great for the high school students right down the street from them. Absolutely marvelous. But for you people here, there has to be a decision that you have to make. You can't have on your enterprise funds and water $200,000 or $300,000. That's ludicrous to have that little amount of money. And an enterprise funds that are supposed to be self-establishing. And Quit trying to convince yourself that we are a poor community. Billions of dollars cross from vegetables into this community. We have always done well. All of you here were born and raised here. You haven't done well? So we have to make sure that our community is going to survive. We can't continue to be telling the police officers and the fire department and the rest of the workers, we can't do it. There's not enough money. You have to watch your spending. You should be conservative. And I will say, you have been conservative. I've watched you. There's been some hiccups that I haven't been really excited about, that you guys talk about borrowing money and then don't know where the money is going or what's happening there. But you have to take a serious look at your revenues. And I still remember when Bobby Bracker, who was very, very prominent in our community, good businessman, came to the mayor and council and told him, don't do away with the property tax. Leave it at 1 penny. You're going to hurt future mayors and councils in the future. I'm not a proponent of raising taxes, okay? I'm the opposite of that. But I know where this community stands. I know what this community needs. We can't let these police officers and we can't let these firefighters and we can't let our employees here, the wealth of knowledge that they have here, be walking out the door and going someplace else. We can't continue to function like that as a community. If the community wants to make a decision that we don't want to pay, then that's the action you're going to have to take. That's a service that you're going to have to provide. We need more parks and recreation. The kids need more facilities to go out there and play and have a good time. We have to take care of ourselves. We can't depend upon the federal government to be taking care of ourselves. We can stand on our own 2 feet. But please, let's not make this problem worse as what it is now. So I just ask for you to consider that. Mayor, thank you for the time.
Thank you, sir.
And Mayor, with your permission, I would like to be excused. I have another commitment with the Lions Club right now, and I'm a little bit behind schedule. So thank you very much. And with your permission,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to be excused.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, we move to number 4, reports. Reports on update plans for the first and second floor of the City of Nogales Administrative Service Building. Mr. Kramer.
Thank you, Mayor. And certainly thank you, Dr. Verona. By the way, Dr. Verona is the one that hired me initially to get into this field of administration. So he went out the door, but thank you. With that said, we had McKinstry present to us about a month ago, and the direction that we, as gave me to move forward with moving over to the new administration building. I just included the plans. They have been not purchased in a sense. I'm just giving you the plans because further on the agenda, we will be doing an action item. But I wanted to give you an idea of the direction that building will look with the floor plans. Just for your preview, it's actually the architectural has gone through, has approved it. I did create a nice, it's really hard to read, I'm sorry, you have to use your reading glasses, but it will be a good layout on the bottom floor. That will be our business office per se. We'll still keep the drive-through with the tellers on the, as far as the outside, so both chutes will still be working. We'll move from Public Works, we're gonna move the kiosk, which will be in front as well. The elevator does work. We are going to be ADA compliant, so we have walked through. David, myself, Leo, all of the others, we've been through many, many, many times. We've had different groups come through. So that bottom floor will be actually utilized with everything on as far as the business office and the direction, and we'll discuss that at our next meeting. The top floor I had them redo that, but you can see on the top, there's room for about 25 people for the training and conference room, which will be really nice for us as a city. We'll be able to use that. And obviously, if we need to let other entities use it, it certainly would be good. You'll see that at the front desk will be right there, will be closed off, and HR, they're not here, Lori's not here, but certainly HR will have their own offices. So a lot more privacy, and without, if you walk in here, there are times that conversations probably shouldn't be had. They're had, but nevertheless, we'll have a lot more privacy in that area. IT is moving up there. IT in the back has a very large storage room, so they're going to be well equipped to store everything in that area. And as far as file storage, the restrooms, the break room, everything is going to be as we see it. And with that said, with upstairs, it's going to give it a more warehouse type downtown business feeling of Tucson, Phoenix, because they're going to tear out the ceilings, tiles, and put more of the, keep that like rafter type, tearing out the carpet to have the cement, and we'll paint that as well. Of course, it's going to look aesthetically pleasing, but it's going to be cost effective as well, because we won't be adding anything in there. Downstairs, we'll keep all the, where the bank tellers are, we'll move all those in there. So we're going to repurpose a lot of that in that area as well. I'm keeping it under the budget, as I told you we would. And certainly this person is going to remove some of the tiling out of there and the flooring. And there, yes, there is asbestos, but that person is highly trained to remove all that. Much like when they did over here, we'll have somebody professionally removing it. So everything will be in order in that sense. So I just want to give you that presentation just to show you where we're at with it. McKinstry will, as soon as they get the punch list going, as they told you, they're working on all their areas of companies. I hope to have something back to you as a council to approve that contract with them, probably within 3 weeks. But we wanted to get started today with approving the next contract on below in one of the orders, so we can get that gentleman and his company going. And they'll be here probably for about 3 months getting that going as well. So I believe they're trying to rent a home or somewhere around here for that group. But nevertheless, that's it's not an action item. I just want to give you an update of what's going on with that building. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Councilman Doyle.
Yes, Mr. Kramer, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm looking at it the right way. I don't see street's name where Grand Avenue is on this, so I don't know if it's now is the drive-through station actually there at where the corner going into Grand Avenue after they leave?
After the drive-through, going, yes,
Yeah,
going
okay,
on.
thank you.
Right. Yeah, and they'll also, and again, I don't want to get too much detail, but since you're bringing that up, it'll be in the contract because they're going to resurface all the parking lots as well, adding better lighting. Again, that's going to be on the next contract, but certainly those questions, Mr. Doyle, as far as entrance, everything to that will be in that next contract, certainly. I just want to give you an idea what this is going to look like, because this company that we're approving is tearing everything out, by the way. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle. With that, we'll move on to item 5, discussion items. 1, discussion and possible action on approval of professional service agreement between the City of Nogales Public Library and Mariposa Community Health Center. It's Anita. Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to bring, this agreement forward to you with, in conjunction with the Mariposa Community Health Clinic. We want to offer more programs on preventative health, have some mobile baby areas at all 4 libraries, and be able to offer information that maybe the public doesn't have at this moment, be able to offer that at all 4 libraries through health classes, through programs, and also to update our literature at all 4 libraries, which is very important.
And just to add that this has been vetted by our attorney.
Wow.
Thank you. Anybody have, go ahead, Mr. Doyle.
Just out of curiosity, and maybe I'm reading it the wrong way, but when will this be signed and become effective?
I believe
What?
today.
Today? So my question is, if I understand correctly, why are we signing an agreement that it was terminated at the beginning of the year? Because under term, the term of this agreement shall be effective from the date of signing by both parties and through January 31st, 2025.
That's just a typographical error. It'll be 2026.
Well, I hope it's not under contract like that, 'cause, after all, those errors shouldn't be in a contract.
May I redirect to
misleading.
Mariposa so that they are able to answer that specifically?
Come on up, please.
Good morning, Yara Castro, Mariposa Community Health Center. Yeah, so it'll be a typo. Services would be for a full year. And yeah, and there are funds exchanged, so it would require that amount of time.
Just checking.
Thank you for that.
And as the programs progress and the outreach is done in conjunction with Mariposa, I would love to come back and show you how we're doing, how it's progressing, how the family areas are doing, and how the health centers are evolving. I would love to.
I would appreciate that. And, thank you, Mariposa, for stepping up and supporting, our libraries and our community. Anybody else have a question? Well, said, I move to approve with the correction of the date. The Nogales Public Library and and Mariposa Community Health Center agreement. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Thank
Very
you.
good, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 2, discussion possible action on approval of service agreement between the City of Nogales and Cary Environmental Services for asbestos abatements work related to the future Nogales Administrative Building. Mr. Kramer?
Yes, this is what I was just referring to earlier. This will be, once we get this approved, if we approve it tonight, or today, excuse me, I'm so used to today, this morning, then we can get this going and the gentleman will get started probably next week. So the timeline is probably up to 2 months to stick on our timeline. Then again with McKinstry, again, it is abatement, it is in there. So he'll be tearing it out. As I said, some of the walls, some of the ceilings, carpet, everything that's in there, and obviously disposing it of regulations set forth by the state.
Any comments? Do you have a motion? Do we have a motion?
A motion to approve.
Second? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Move to number 6, orders, consideration, possible action of order 2025-06-018, an order of the Council of the City of Nogales adopting an amendments to the city personal manual, chapter 27 and 28 regarding the grievance board and appeal commission.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
You have a comment? Go ahead, Mr. Doyle.
Well, it's a big move, and there were some things here and that I believe are taking some of the power to be in all fairness to anybody that's placing a grievance. I personally don't think it should be on one person, which here it states the city manager has the final say. I think it should be the council itself, after the recommendation of the city manager, bring to be no fairness that we get all the information on any kind of grievance where the decision would be based on more people instead of one. So I believe that it should be the council that has the final say in the matter, with all the due respect from having the city manager and legal give us the guidance and direction on that, but because every case is different.
No, totally understand Councilmember Doyle, but the council doesn't get involved in employment issues and grievances. And also this aligns with what's in the current code, where the code says the manager shall be the final authority for all employment issues for employees. This provides for a board to be able to review that separately and look at all the information and then provide a recommendation back to the manager. So it's not just the manager, but this is consistent with just about every other municipality where you have either an appeals board or a hearing officer, somebody independent that can look at the issue like you were talking about. It just doesn't come back to the council because the council doesn't get involved with employment issues and day-to-day issues with employees. That's under the guise of this comports with what's in the charter and what's in the city code.
Again, in all due respect, we might have right now a fair city manager, but in the future, we never know if we can get a tyrant in there that can go against all the counseling from these groups and decide whatever he likes to decide on. So how do we control that?
That's when you remove the city manager. The city manager is under your authority.
Okay, sounds fair enough.
So that's how the manager council form of government works is, you know, your manager is your CEO. He's responsible for the day-to-day operations of the entity. The council sets the goals and objectives and things. And if the manager isn't doing what the council thinks is appropriate, then the council replaces the manager. So that's where your authority comes in. Absolutely. You still have the final say if something is not going right. But I would hope and assume that the council doesn't hire a tyrant, or, you know, if you do accidentally, that you recognize that and you're able to address that as a council through your authority over the manager.
Thank you. I think the public probably enjoys hearing that the people they elected are still in control. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Vice Mayor?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I understand Mr. Councilman Doyle's concerns, and, you know, they're fair. But on these changes, this includes the personnel manual, right? And I think it includes all the employees, not just the directors.
Correct.
Right.
Because under the code, the city manager is the final authority with regard to all employment issues.
Right.
And so what the current policy provides was there's a grievance board, which was also an appeals commission, and those boards and commissions would have final binding authority decision, which is in contradiction to the city code. So I think it's important that you still have these boards and commissions to be able to do that independent review, to look at all the issues and make a recommendation back to the city manager. But ultimately, that's why you hire a city manager, is to manage this entity. And so if you put final binding authority with these boards and commissions, then you're taking that authority away from the city manager by way of a personnel policy, which is in conflict with the city code. So this is bringing it in alignment with the city code, but still maintaining these, you know, you still have your grievance process and procedures. You still have your appeals processes and procedures. This just modifies those and provides that those comply with what's in the city code.
Well, with that said, I would like to make a motion to adopt the amendments to the city personnel manual.
There was
I think we already had a motion in the second at the outset.
We're in discussion right now, I guess, right?
Yes. Who did the motion? Okay, yes.
Bojorquez.
So
Yeah, so now it would just be, if there's no further, you could call the question.
I guess I have one.
More discussion.
So to get your recommendation, legal, it's actually a little more fair the way it's written now than what it was before for everyone involved.
Yes, this is applies to everybody. There's no special circumstances for anybody. This is, it still provides for those mechanisms. It just complies with and comports with the requirements of the city code.
Thank you.
I've got a question, legal. Has our personnel manual been updated to be in standards with this, with all the past changes that we've had?
Yes, once this gets disapproved, then that will go into the personnel manual and it will be updated with this new change. That's not to say that we're not, currently Lori is looking through the personnel manual as to other policies and provisions and things like that we will bring back to council for review and recommendation to update. Because I think the manual was put in place, or this version of it, in 2017. So you always want to make sure that you're going through these things and updating them, especially as court cases come in and change different employment issues and things like that. For example, there's a Supreme Court decision recently that basically said that we don't like non-compete contracts, and so and those are typically in the private sector where employers want a no compete for their higher ups so that they don't leave that firm and go somewhere else and compete against them and stuff like that. So there's always updates and things with employment law cases and things that we want to look at and make sure that our policies and our manual are in compliance with new decisions.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Just one final reminder that even though the city, the mayor and council don't get involved with the hiring and termination of all employees, there is a proposition in place that was adopted on the city charter where the mayor and council do have an opinion on some of the directors being
Yes.
hired or terminated.
Yes, this doesn't affect those other provisions. The council still has recommendation authority with regard to the directors. Absolutely.
And it also doesn't change our rights to put the appeal commission group, right?
Right.
Thank you. Well, that's it. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, consideration and possible action of Order 2025-06-019, an order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, adopting the official final budget for fiscal year 2025-2026 as presented. Go ahead, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to table this item till we have more time to review it. We got it kind of late. The budget.
Okay, do we have a second? I'll second.
Okay.
We have to when to finalize our budget. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Discussion? Yeah, thank you. So it was advertised for 2 weeks in the International. We've had two or maybe 3 meetings to discuss the budget. We've had all the time in the world to ask city manager. I've come over and talked to him. I've talked to Mr. Estes about some legal questions. We've had so much time to review it, to add up the numbers, the residents of Nogales had opportunities to have their say, to come to the meetings, to sit and discuss and ask questions. We followed the statutes in terms of advertising it for the last 2 weeks in the Nogales International. I don't know what what is, maybe we could discuss what questions you have instead of tabling it today. But I think that we need to start, it's going to be July 1st, very, 2 weeks? We've had opportunities, and I think we've given the public opportunities too. And I just think that we're delaying it. And if you have questions, perhaps this is the time to ask so that we don't delay it further. I think we have to be fiscally responsible to the public too, and making sure that we adopt our budget.
Okay. Mr. Doe?
Mayor, the inconsistencies and discrepancies that have been seen in the past few months, and also the way we've gotten everything late, from the audit to this budget, and then they had to. The last time, I think it was the vice mayor that was quoting quotes from the budget that was already, which were wrong. And so it's unfair for us because they've been changing. It's not the same budget that we saw. There's been changes. And now we get this one where I see that still on the city manager side, it's like $380,000 when there's only himself and 2 employees under him. That's a lot of money. When you go and look at finance, that has dropped the ball for the last at least 4 years, red flags all over the place. And now we're, things haven't improved. I mean, even myself, I've got, finance has gone up to what now, close to $1,800,000 for the whole team. That's a lot of money when we're not getting results that we should be getting. And one of the things that I have evidence of 2 checks that they've paid me that I have in cash that have the same number, the same amount. And how many times do they repeat that throughout? We never got a real audit. We need to go further into these things. And right now, I think we're the last set of eyes to audit this finance. And we got it here a few days ago. Again, why is it all the time that there's smoke screens, that there's rushing us to make decisions? No, we haven't had the ample time to take a good look at the final budget. And that's why I make that motion to table. According to the laws, I think we have plenty of time to still approve the budget, even if we have to post it for a couple of weeks. We just need to pick a time when we can get together and discuss it, even if it's a study session before that. But we need to have more time than sitting right here for the next half hour and trying to reach a decision to approve something that's going to affect us down the road on the decisions we make. This is a very important part of our responsibility, and it's also towards our constituents, because any wrong decisions that we make on this is going to affect them.
Mayor, I think the first question would be, is there any changes from the prior tentative budget to this current budget?
For me, I just got it this week, and really no time to
I think the manager or
balance it.
finance director can answer that question.
Gene, go ahead.
Gene's coming up. I think the timeline with the budget was, and I'll go through it again. I've said it once, from the one study session to the next study session, but I'll backtrack. There was meetings with the finance director, and the directors that are here will tell you they met with her individually, correct? Back in March? February, March. Next meeting was finance director and city manager, then gleaning some of the budget from their departments. The third meeting was then with finance director, city manager, and each director individually. Correct, directors? If I'm just interrupt if I'm wrong. From there, we had our first study session presenting the budgets to council. I believe we met over here, correct, in the round table. And at that time, we went through each of the budgets for each department, showing the cuts, showing what we proposed spending, my justification for it for each department. Just interrupt if I'm wrong, just.
You're correct.
And from there, the positions that I may have added a couple, some that I subtracted, and granted, I'm going to take one away earlier, or right now, I could say that I'm taking one away from mine is the assistant city manager. I'm going to take that out. But from there, I think we spent enough 2 hours. At that time, it was a positiveness. I didn't hear anything of Mr. Kramer, this. And I think two of you said the door is open to Mr. Kramer's office. I said, please come and see me, discuss whatever budgets you are concerned about. Please come and see me. My door's always been open. I don't know, Mr. Calvillo, has my door been open to anybody? So I think I've been open to council, those that choose or chose to see me. From there, we went into our second study session. Granted, the door was still open for the budget, but we were focusing on our enterprise funds and our salaries. But the other was still open. Again, no opportunity or opportunities were given there. We discussed obviously enterprise funds and salaries, which Dr. Verona alluded to in his call to the public. You can't say that, but I can. But I can certainly say that. From there, we were discussing it, those areas. Granted, we discussed why we couldn't give raises. I think we fed and gave everybody enough information, and certainly as council, you helped spread that word as well. Understandable that our insurance was going up, therefore we would cover insurance. And yet we still had approved and put in the incentive funds for fire and police. We're trying to keep that. It's still there. I haven't tweaked or changed any of the other budget line items other than when I'm going to remove that one today. And granted, there's a few other questions that I answered last time, Mr. Doyle, you asked me about bringing on a position for Mr. Tapia's group and Mr. Guetta's group. And I explained to there, the drum roll Rodney. Certainly Rodney, if he's right here, he's a part of the Pierce Coleman law firm who has been given or I should say, we've been given the graces of having him here, working with those two departments, and shake your head if I'm wrong, but it's certainly working on enforcing and code enforcement for both departments and how we can implement that into the city. So which we are doing, is that correct, Rodney? Is that what we're in the direction we're going? I believe it is. Is that correct, gentlemen? We're going in that direction. So with that said, those are I was wanting to add those two positions. I'm not, okay.
Go ahead.
I can stop if you want, because I would have just a couple other things.
You know, what I'd like to know is these positions that were created. I mean, did you just go on basically, did you do an investigation, research, how many complaints the compliance officer that we have now handles on a monthly basis, or what is the need for another compliance officer? And again, right now, I think
that was based on what I've driven around, and with our new safety officer that we approved. That was one of the first positions I created with Leo Lopez, who is driving around as well. We are seeing a lot of infractions. So Leo is also part of that, bringing that to my office, and then in turn, directing it to them as well. So it's a matter of, again, Mr. Doyle, I've just put those in there because I'm trying to enforce the code enforcement of those two. Hold on. It's not for Joel Kramer. Just so everyone knows, this isn't for Joel Kramer. This is just something that I saw that I said we need to start moving in that direction. Those two positions. If council decides, and again, I gave you guys ample opportunity to tell me, hey, you know what? We probably don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want it. That's fine. I have no concern with that, because you're the ones that have to represent and you're the ones that have to vote. I'm just trying to make sure that we utilize our attorneys to move forward of situations that the city hasn't sometimes addressed. That's what I'm trying to do. It wasn't that I did a study, Mr. Doyle. I didn't do any of the research and studies. I did research by driving around and with Leo and myself, and sometimes David. Just being out there, not sitting in my office. So that's what I based it on. That, and finally, like I said, that was our second reading. We've had, and I try to give you guys opportunities to do that. Again, it's not a Joel Kramer thing, city manager thing. City manager in a sense of yes, but it's for the benefit of the city.
So my next question is, you're going to remove the funding from right now, when we talk about the budget of $130,000 that has been sitting there in your office for the funding the position of deputy city manager. Will the funding be taken away, or
Yes, it will,
it goes going back to the general fund?
exactly.
It goes back to the reserve.
Reserve? Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that reserve. Is that the contingency fund?
Yes, that's the same thing.
How much money do we have right now in the contingency?
There's a little over 11 million sitting in for this new budget. We had a little over 9 million that we're finishing up for 25. And so we're increasing it by $2 million for this coming year, which is excellent.
In other words, it's a plus, not a negative. It's not.
Exactly.
It's going to cover all these expenses. And once it covers all these expenses, we'll still have 11 million in the contingency fund?
So your reserve, your contingency fund, whichever you want to call it.
Yeah.
If, let's say, the city stops, the income to the city absolutely stops, and there's not a penny that comes in, and we've gone through our checking account, we've gone through every account we have, that is what we have that we can use to keep this city going so that the city does not stop. That's the last thing we ever want to happen, is the city to be put on hold, and that's what your reserve is for. It's like your savings account, it's your cushion.
Okay. And I guess, sorry, my other question is, how many meter readers do we have at this point?
Currently, we have 2 meter readers.
And we need 2 more?
Well, no, we're moving the 2 meter readers from the water department into the finance department because they work with the revenue side of the water department, or I'm sorry, the finance department more than they work with the water department. They come here, they get.
So why did you put in the budget like we're going to have an extra expense? Of
Well, it's an extra expense on mine.
58,000 or something like that per worker?
No, what we did is we took their salaries that were in the water department and we just moved them into the finance department.
So meter readers get 58,000?
Well, when you include all your EREs,
Oh,
it's probably, yeah, it's right about that with insurance and retirement and everything else.
And Mr. Doyle, I think I explained this at the last budget meeting or our study session, that I was moving them over because I don't want to get too far ahead of this, but our next meeting, we'll discuss some issues that we discussed. Just correct me if I'm wrong. We discussed in executive session that I can't bring out in public, that we discussed a few months ago, that we'll reconvene in executive session to answer some of the questions that we discussed in executive session. So regarding some of these issues, I'm moving them. I decided that to move them over. They are going to be down there because they will work directly with the business office reporting to them. I don't want to get into the depth again, Mr. Doyle, because there's some more steps again, that it's on safety concerns, and under safety concerns and things to that effect, I have the privilege to discuss with you in exec session. Yes. So some of the things that I discussed in exec session a couple months ago, I'm going to bring about in executive session.
So, and the reason this looks like an addition in the budget is because it is an addition of 2 additional positions under finance, but it's a deduction of 2 positions under public works. So you see it as an addition, like you're hiring, but it's just transferring that budget cost
Right.
from public works over into finance.
From the water department itself.
Or one, yeah.
so we're adding an extra 170 some thousand, 75 or so to your budget?
Well, we have the 2 meter readers transferring over, and then we also have the grants coordinator position that has been discussed that will also be inside the finance department. That will help manage all of the grants for the entire city
Okay, and that's, so it needs around 70,000 or something?
with EREs.
Okay, then what's the increase in your department for the extra 200,000 or 250?
So we did discuss the bank fees at at the very first meeting that we had.
That's 50,000.
That's about 50,000. And then every year audit goes up a little bit, the expenses go up. And then you have to also remember that with the health insurance, the city's taking on that. So for every employee that any department has, that health insurance is going up an additional 25%. So for instance, finance department, starting July 1, has 17 positions. So that's 17 positions with an increase of 25%. So a lot of the increase within finance comes from the 3 positions, the increase of the health insurance, the increase of bank fees.
And I think we discussed that at our last study session, where it becomes a wash because we projected the raises. So we washed the raises out and used that funding to cover our insurance. Yet we had set aside close to $500,000 in the budget to prepare for insurance increase, which we're using that, Mr. Doyle, and the wash that we didn't give raises to cover the cost for the insurances.
I just want to ask on the upcoming audit, that's covered then already under the budget.
Yes.
And when will that start taking place?
They will be here the last 2 weeks of July. The auditors will be coming down here. Then they'll actually be coming back down in August, and that's where a lot of that training that they discussed with you guys at the last meeting will be taken care of in August.
Do we have a say-so on what auditing company? Because to me, they haven't done that great of a job since I've been here. The one that, I guess, I won't say their name, but the auditing company that has been doing the audits for the city.
We can look at that at an appropriate meeting, but it's not an agenda item for,
Well, it's an agenda. I mean, it's on the budget.
well, you're talking about the budget, but you're not talking about specific contracts.
Well, I just want to know,
Yes,
if
you would
we're
have
going to
it.
be in the loop or is it already a set deal where you're going to bring them in?
Hey, Mr. Doyle, that's certainly a topic that we can discuss, and certainly it's
fine.
more of my concerns on situations that, again, that we discussed a couple months ago in exec session, that I will be bringing back in again in exec session. A lot of things that I cannot answer right now because of the things that we talked about in exec session, that we will reconvene to talk about in exec session.
Okay.
I'm not trying to not give public information, but again, when it comes to safety and everything to that effect regarding situations, even finances, certainly Mr. Estes is aware of the situations, and you guys will be aware of the situations that I will discuss in exec session.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that we were covered in case of emergency issues down the road with, again, you call it the
The reserve.
reserve. Okay, so, but I needed to touch base on those things and make sure that we all have a clear picture, because those things can affect our future decisions.
Exactly. And I understand where you're going. I just don't want to put a situation out there and what we're saying out here right now, rather than you guys knowing firsthand of exact details.
Okay.
And that's the, I understand where you're leaning, I understand your questioning, but I just want to make sure that you know that I can't bring stuff out right now.
No, okay, that's fine. I mean,
Other than I'm going to stick to the budget that we have.
Okay.
And
Oh, and
removing the position that I have and trying to defend the 2 positions I'm trying to create based on trying to get more enforcement going on. Other than that, I tweaked, I changed, those guys will even say, I cut their budgets. I did the best I can to save $2 million. With that said, there are more things coming up, Mr. Doyle, that you're going to see. Things that we're not going to see right now. That the budget is the budget, and we're going from there. But there are going to be more that you're going to be doing. We're going to also have a study session. I was going to bring that up in the July 2nd one, but I'll bring it up now since we're talking about it. Certainly, we're going to revisit the WIFA and we'll revisit the rates. And I've already talked to Michael Vasquez, the person from WIFA directly, and we will meet with probably, and then I said with Joe, we'll probably do that the week before our next August meeting. And everything else that we discussed prior to the last meeting regarding all that. I'm bringing that information, but I don't want to bring it just offhand. I want full-blown information from the best sources so you guys can make the best calls. So I don't put you in a position of making calls where you feel that, oh, we're, you know, it's not really. No, you're going to have all the information you need to make a good call. And if you make that good call, then so be it. You voted with your heart and your conscience. And that's what I was trying to do with the budget as well. I was trying to be open as much as 95%, the other 5%, I can't answer those questions, but everything is there. And you're going to see some of what I'm doing in this next meeting. So I'm not hiding anything from this budget. I don't hope nobody knows that. You guys did well on the study sessions. Everything is there. I think I even brought up about, I think Hector, you asked me about the marquees. Those marquees, I'm just putting there. Doesn't mean I'm going to spend it, but it's part of the, I think, Councilwoman Montiel, you said about getting, what was you saying that I should create a position for economic development? Well, if I put those marquees out, I'm not going to spend it, Mr. Doyle, but I'm just telling you, if we have them on the interstate and all that, we can create advertisement. If we can get advertisement, like I'm just using Home Depot because they're a box store. If we can get advertisement that pays for that, well, then we'll start promoting Nogales more. And like Dr. Verona said, the people that are driving through, maybe they'll stop and say, hey, we'll go in. It's promoting Nogales. And that's what I have in here. I'm not trying to hide, like I'm trying to create a marquee of whatever stuff. It'd be promoting Nogales or the events of stop in and come to the whatever events the two of you both do. And I know you're all, I'm just talking right now on that, but certainly the 6 events that we have. It's to sell Nogales. Again, it's not promoting the city manager's office, maybe the mayor's office, I don't know at times, but yes, certainly that.
Are those the ones you put highway?
Yes, on the interstate and coming in from Mariposa. There's a lot more I've got to tell in my report, but I'm just trying to tell you that the budget is pretty sound. I thought we did the right steps. I wasn't trying to hide anything. And I'm trying to protect our employees, as you saw, Dr. Rona, and everyone else. And I did talk to our unions. I think our fire union and our police unions were comfortable with at least knowing that we tried to give them that incentive pay. And the rest of the employees understood about the insurance, and they said, well, I'd rather you pay that insurance because we know the cost. So I've gotten feedback from employees. I mean, you see me sometimes in the office, but I'm trying to get out and about. There's my Canadian, out and about, but nevertheless. So again, Mr. Doyle, I understand your questions. I just hope you understand that we worked as a team, and hopefully we can continue doing that. As Councilman Bojorquez said, this is probably the one best time he's seen as a councilman of us working together. And hopefully we can continue that.
Well,
So thank you.
Thank you for shedding light on that.
Mr. Bonilla?
I'm in agreement with Councilwoman Montiel. I think we all had ample time to weigh in, to advocate or question anything on the budget. I don't see any reason to table this. I think that we should approve it today. There's no changes in this budget than the one we last discussed. So I don't think we should table this. I think that we should go forward and vote on this and approve it.
Ms. Parada, you have a question?
No, I'm agreeing with Councilman Bonilla and Ms. Montiel as well. Mr. Kramer, you did an excellent job with the budget. And yes, you do have an open door policy. I know that. And I appreciate all the work you've done. I really believe that we don't need to table it.
Ms. Montiel?
You want to go? The attorney's more important.
No.
Your opinion's more important.
I was just going to say, there was the question as to the latest date, what the legal responsibility was. And that's the third Tuesday of July, which is July 15th. So you only have 2.5 weeks available, which is really less because you would have to do another 2-week hearing notice and stuff like that.
I just want to quickly say too that if we looked very diligently at the budget and looked at the numbers and you analyzed it, you know, we're spending less. Our budget overall is less than last year. And it is, if you looked at it very carefully. It's not like you're adding positions. You're eliminating the deputy city manager, and you're just making some movements around. I know legal even, you eliminated one position there. So you've been very frugal. You've been very fiscally responsible, and you're not going to make everybody happy. That's not what we put you there for. We put you there to do the right thing. And you know, that 25% that we're absorbing insurance, if you really looked at the numbers, I know you did, but I'm just throwing it out publicly. It's more than an increase. It's the majority of employees at the bottom quartile got last year. Right. Absorbing that 25%, if you really looked at the math and did the math. So, you know, some of them got, you know, $1 to $1.50 of an increase, the bottom quartile. And for the city to absorb, the taxpayer to absorb that 25% of insurance, that for me is very, you know, first of all, responsible. I think that it says a lot about what we think about the employees. And then you created this incentive for the public safety. I've been here for 4 years, going on 5 years. We've never seen that element go into this structure. That was very thought out. You and the finance department sitting down with the you know, fire department, the police department. I'm sure legal was part of it to make sure that it was applied correctly. So thank you.
Councilmember Montiel, I just wanted to point out on the insurance issue as well, that the budget looks higher for insurance costs because we are budgeting that differently this year. In prior years, each department budgeted what their employees were actually using. So for example, I'll use the city attorney's office. We've got one employee who doesn't use health insurance because she gets it from, I think, her husband's source. And then we have another employee that has a family coverage. So in past years, that would be budgeted where you wouldn't see that expense for the employee who doesn't use health insurance. But this year, it's being budgeted for every employee is budgeted at the maximum family that cost for health insurance, because you don't know if an employee is going to leave and then you have to bring in a new employee, but you didn't budget for health insurance that employee is going to choose. So you see a higher budget for that, but you're not going to see a higher cost at the end of the year. But you need to have that buffer there. So if you have an employee who's currently working for the city who doesn't take insurance and you didn't include that in your department budget because she's not using it or he's not using it, but then that individual leaves and the new person you hire is going to take family coverage, and now you've got that additional expense for that department that wasn't budgeted. So that why this year every department's budgeting the full amount of what insurance would cost for full family coverage. So it looks like that cost goes up, but it's not. It's just a way of making sure that if you have employees that leave or something, that amount is available in the budget, if that makes sense.
Okay. Oh, go ahead, Mayor.
Vice Mayor?
Okay, again, I understand Mr. Doyle's concern, but a lot of those questions that we got answered today would probably be going into that meeting that we're trying to set up for the future. But I think it answered some of the questions that I had. So hopefully during this discussion, Mr. Doyle, you got the answers you wanted to hear from the budget and not move it to another date so we don't delay this.
Vice Mayor, I think we we did bring out some good points. Light was shed on them. It eases my responsibility towards the general public. And before I go any further, though, I'll remind the city manager of the words that former Mayor Barona spoke here on the podium today, that, you know, even though this new budget is starting to cover all the future expenses, the budget is a living instrument. It's an ongoing thing. And hopefully, I'm hoping that the city manager will be able to improve on it for the next year's budget, and that we will get it in a timely manner. Everything that we get in a timely manner, and not at the last moment. So having said that, Mayor, yes, did you want to say?
No, I just, haven't been able, just, it's also, sometimes getting clarifications of what we see. And Gene, like on page 3, we have the miscellaneous funding of 55. What's that drop of 17 million?
So in the fiscal year 25 budget, there were 2 very, very large grants that both PD and Fire had applied for that we put into the budget. They did not get those grants. So in this year, it looks like it's a huge drop because those funds did not carry forward.
Okay. And then, Mr. Kramer, thank you for clarifying. I don't know why you called it highway signs, but it's advertisement signs, or I was wondering why we were getting into the highway when we got ADOT. And on the other hand, on page 64, category 78, on the ending item or number 40, what's that increase of 964 to 85?
For which line?
Category 78, the bottom one, the 40, which lease and purchase interests.
Oh, that's for Fire. So remember when we discussed at one of the meetings of having 3 fire vehicles that we were going to do by lease? It's a 5-year lease. Was it the May meeting that we discussed and approved it?
Yeah, we approved that, yes.
So it's a 5-year lease on 3 new fire vehicles. And so after 5 years, those become ours.
And we applied this,
But that's the lease, not,
That's the lease.
but it's lease to own, 1. And 2 is we had a good sum of money that we used, Mr. Mayor, to apply to the payment. So the payments will not be so high for the successive years after that.
yeah, but the purchase interest, that's just what throws you off,
Yes, yeah, but that's what it is.
What are you
It's a
paying?
lease to purchase.
Almost $1 million in interest, or what?
So no, this is
It's the vehicle.
technically, it's the first 2 years of a 5-year lease because of the money that we saved in this year's capital in Fire. We're putting that forward to pay for the first 2 years to reduce the last 3 years.
It's principal and interest.
Yes, it's principal.
And I just wanted to point out, we have all day and all night to go through this budget today. I'm here until midnight. Come on.
Mayor, there's
No, go ahead.
no other questions from the council and yourself. I would do the time element that we're short. Oh, I'm sorry. Again, Mayor, sorry. Due to the time element that we're short, we only have a couple of weeks or so before the deadline of approving the budget. And with all things said today at this, I guess, shedding light on all these points of interest or maybe that made us feel a little uncomfortable for whoever, I think there was some mention that I didn't have taken into account. But thank you for at least being able to bring those points out and shedding that light of giving us a little more peace of mind that we're being fiscally responsible for our constituents, the people that put us here in office. And at this time, Mayor, I would like to withdraw my motion to table.
You don't
Uh,
have to second his withdrawal.
Thank you. Now,
She's being emphatic.
okay,
She's being emphatic.
You can just kick him under the table. That's how you say it.
okay, thank you, Mr. Doyle. With that said, do we, with the adjustment that Mr. Kramer asked to do on the deputy city manager and the amount, do we have to amend or on the motion, or it's to approve the motion with that change?
Yes, if that's going to be the only change, removing that one position, then you can move to approve the final budget with the removal of the deputy city manager position, which would be fine. And then if
Go
you've got
ahead,
other
sir.
questions or
I'd like to make that motion. I'd like to make a motion to amend and remove the 130,000 funding for the position of deputy city manager from the final budget.
And approve the budget.
Do I have a second?
And approve the budget? Okay. Is that good? Mr. Estes?
so yeah, so it's you made the motion to remove the position for the deputy city manager and approve the
And the
final.
funding of 130,000.
Right, that removes the funding
And approve the budget, sir.
and approve the budget.
And approve the budget, the final budget.
Yes. And then there was a second.
Second by Mr. Bojorquez.
I think we're good.
I think we did a discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
I just need to threaten a midnight meeting and things get done really quick, right?
Move to adjourn this meeting. All opposed? All in favor? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.